What happens when a spilled coffee leads to a whirlwind of chaos, romance, and life-changing moments? Can two people from completely different worlds find a way to connect? Or will their fiery personalities and tangled secrets keep them apart? Packed with humor, passion, and unexpected twists, this is a story where every moment counts and love finds its way in the most surprising places. Are you ready for the ride? Ava Bennett was used to chaos. It came with the territory when you worked at Java Haven, the busiest coffee shop in Midtown Manhattan. Between balancing lattes, dodging complaints, and trying to make rent, she had just enough energy to roll her eyes at her boss, Sheila, who treated her employees like pawns on her personal chessboard. One morning, the chaos hit a new level. Ava was running on 3 hours of sleep and zero patience when a tall, ridiculously handsome man strolled in wearing a white suit that screamed rich and untouchable. He didn't even glance at the menu, just snapped his fingers at the counter. "Double espresso, no foam," he said, his voice as smooth as silk and twice as infuriating. Ava was already annoyed. "This isn't a 5-star restaurant. We don't do snapping." The man raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. Ava grabbed the coffee pot, poured his espresso, and spun around, only to trip over a stray bag of coffee beans. The steaming hot coffee went flying, landing squarely on his pristine suit. Gasps filled the shop. The man froze, his green eyes narrowing. "Do you have any idea how much this suit costs? Do you have any idea how little I care?" Ava shot back, grabbing a napkin to dab at his jacket. "You're ruining it more!" "You're ruining my day!" Sheila, hearing the commotion, rushed over. "Ava, apologize right now." "No need," the man said icily. "Just fire her." And just like that, Ava found herself out of a job and on the sidewalk with a severance check barely enough to cover a week's worth of rent. That evening, Ava ranted to her best friend Mia, pacing around their tiny apartment. "Who does he think he is? Mr. Fancy Suit ruining my life because he can't handle a little coffee." "You threw hot coffee on a billionaire," Mia said, scrolling on her phone. "You're lucky he didn't sue you." "Wait, billionaire?" Ava froze. Mia shoved her phone toward her. "Ethan Carter, real estate mogul. Basically owns half the city." The next morning, Ava was jolted awake by a phone call. "This is Ethan Carter," the voice said, smooth and maddeningly smug. "I'd like to offer you a job." Ava nearly dropped her phone. "Are you serious? You're quick-witted and fearless. My assistant just quit, and I need someone who won't bore me to death." Ava hesitated, but rent wasn't going to pay itself. "Fine, but I'm not fetching your dry cleaning." Ava's first day at Carter Enterprises was, in a word, disastrous. She spilled coffee on her own desk, tripped on the office rug, and accidentally sent an all-staff email titled Urgent that was completely blank. Ethan leaned back in his sleek office chair, watching her struggle. "You're terrible at this," he said. "I never claimed to be good at it," Ava snapped. Her tasks were simple: answer calls, manage schedules, and avoid breaking things. Yet somehow Ava managed to accidentally schedule 3 meetings at the same time, mislabel an important file, and hang up on a major client. The final straw came when she confused Ethan's lunch order. Instead of his usual grilled chicken salad, she brought him a triple cheeseburger. "Do I look like someone who eats burgers?" Ethan asked, holding up the grease-stained bag. "Honestly, you could use the carbs," Ava quipped. Ethan sighed, but there was a flicker of amusement in his eyes. 2 months into her job, Ethan announced he was flying to Bali for a major business deal. "And you're coming with me," he added. "Why?" Ava asked. "Because I need someone to carry my files and not talk too much." Their arrival in Bali was anything but peaceful. Ava's luggage was lost, and she had to attend their first meeting in a borrowed sundress. Despite the rocky start, the trip had its moments. Ethan surprised Ava with his knowledge of Balinese culture, and Ava taught Ethan how to haggle at a local market. One evening, Ava decided to take a dip in the ocean. She waded in cautiously, but a sudden wave knocked her off her feet. She flailed, panic taking over. "Help!" Ethan, hearing her cries, sprinted into the water and pulled her to safety. "Are you insane?" he shouted. "Why would you go swimming if you can't swim?" "I thought it'd be fun," Ava coughed. You're unbelievable." They didn't speak for the rest of the trip. At the big meeting, the client, a handsome man named Jake, made it clear he was more interested in Ava than the deal. "Are you single?" Jake asked Ava, ignoring Ethan entirely. Ethan's jaw clenched. "The deal's off," he said abruptly, grabbing Ava's arm and walking out. "What is your problem?" Ava demanded. "You," Ethan muttered. Back in New York, the tension between Ethan and Ava was palpable. Their constant bickering turned into an odd rhythm, one that kept both the office staff entertained and on edge. One late evening, as they worked on a major pitch, their usual fiery banter reached a boiling point. "You're impossible to work with," Ava snapped, tossing her pen onto the table. "Me? You're the one who turned a simple report into an explosion of emojis and glitter fonts," Ethan retorted, his voice laced with exasperation. "I was trying to make it engaging. For a kindergarten class, maybe?" The room fell silent. They stood inches apart, breaths heavy, emotions swirling. Without thinking, Ethan grabbed her by the shoulders. "You drive me insane," he muttered before pulling her into a kiss. The kiss was electric. Like every ounce of their tension had transformed into something far more intense. For a moment, Ava forgot everything. The job, the chaos, the impossible man she worked for. Then the sound of heels clicking broke the spell. "Ethan?" A sharp, icy voice called. Ava turned to see a tall, stunning woman standing in the doorway. Her blonde hair was flawless, her designer dress screamed wealth, and her narrowed eyes screamed trouble. "Oh, this is awkward," Ava muttered, stepping back. "This is Vanessa," Ethan said, his voice uncharacteristically tense. "My fiancé." Ava's stomach dropped. "Your what?" Vanessa smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "So, you're the assistant I've heard so much about." Ava didn't stay to hear more. She stormed out, her heart shattered, leaving Ethan speechless and Vanessa smug. Heartbroken and furious, Ava quit her job the next morning. Ethan tried to explain, but she wasn't having it. "You don't get to kiss me and then casually mention your fiancé," she said, slamming her resignation letter on his desk. She returned to working at a coffee shop, this time at a quieter spot downtown. The job was unremarkable, but Ava appreciated the peace, until Vanessa showed up. Vanessa strutted in like she owned the place, her designer bag swinging as she approached the counter. "I need to speak with you," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. Ava crossed her arms. "I'm on shift. Whatever you've got to say, make it quick." "You think you've won, don't you? You think Ethan cares about you?" Vanessa leaned in, her voice low. "He's mine, and he always will be." Ava smirked. "Funny, considering he didn't look too interested in you when he kissed me." The cafe went silent. Customers and staff alike stared, clearly invested in the unfolding drama. Vanessa's face flushed red. "You little—" Before she could finish, Ethan walked in. His presence was commanding, and for once, his usual confidence was replaced with urgency. "Vanessa, leave now," he said, his tone icy. Vanessa stared at him, stunned. "Ethan?" "I said, leave," Vanessa huffed, turning on her heel and storming out. Ethan turned to Ava, his expression softening. "I need to talk to you." Ava shook her head. "I don't think so. I'm done with this circus." But her boss, who had witnessed the entire scene, disagreed. "This is unacceptable, Ava. You're fired." Ava's jaw dropped. "Are you kidding me? Again?" That night, Ava was done. Done with billionaires, done with coffee shops, and done with her entire chaotic life. She called Mia, and the two of them hit their favorite bar for drinks. "I'm cursed," Ava declared, downing her margarita. "Every job I get fired because some rich jerk waltzes in and ruins everything." Mia laughed. "You do have a knack for drama. But hey, at least it's never boring." As the night went on, Ava began to feel a little better, until a man at the bar got too close. "Hey, gorgeous," he slurred, grabbing her arm. Ava tried to pull away. "Not interested, thanks." But the man tightened his grip, his face twisted into a smirk. "Let go of her." The voice was unmistakable. Ethan stood behind them, his green eyes blazing with fury. The man laughed. "Who are you, her boyfriend?" Ethan didn't answer. Instead, he threw a punch, knocking the man to the floor. Chaos erupted as bar patrons scrambled to get out of the way. Once the man was dealt with, Ethan turned to Ava. "Are you okay?" I think so," she stammered, still processing what had happened. Ethan took a deep breath, then dropped to one knee. "What are you doing?" Ava asked, her voice a mix of shock and disbelief. "I'm tired of waiting," Ethan said, pulling out a ring. "Ava Bennett, you're the most infuriating, incredible woman I've ever met. Will you marry me?" The entire bar fell silent. Ava stared at him, her eyes filling with tears. "You're insane," she said, laughing through her emotions. "Completely," Ethan agreed. Ava smiled. "Yes, but only if you promise to stop ruining my jobs." "Deal," Ethan said, sliding the ring onto her finger as the bar erupted into cheers.